Welcome back to No Man's Land. I recently just did a video about Texhoma and the No Man's Land Museum in Goodwell, and now we're going to start exploring the county of Texas County, Oklahoma. We're right here on a busy road. This is US Route 54, and it goes up from Kansas through here, through Texas County, down to Texas. And it's interesting because I did the whole Cimarron County series and how it's the least populated county in the state and very sparsely populated. But of the three counties in the Panhandle, which were part of No Man's Land originally, Texas County is by far the most populated with like 21,000 people. And this busy road here is, one of the main reasons. There are several incorporated towns, and almost all of them are on this highway. And it's a busy. There are lots of trucks and traffic coming through. And right here in Texhoma, we're starting our exploration right here at the Oklahoma and Texas state line. Obviously, Texhoma, if you learned about that in the last video, named after both of those states. And if you're interested in the whole history of this region, the entire kind of overall region of these three counties in the Panhandle, make sure to go back and watch my original No Man's Land video, and I went to the whole history of that. But, when Texas County was formed, when Oklahoma became a state in 1907, and it was, pretty good sized population. The population decreased during the Dust Bowl years. You can see on the population there's like 1940 census, it went down quite a bit, but by 1950 it was back up there. And the railroad is right along this road here, and obviously has been very important, and it's very significant in the cattle industry here in Oklahoma. So pretty fascinating. We'll talk more about the history of Texas County as we explore. In this first video of exploring the county, we're going to be in more like the western third of the county, and Texhoma is the only incorporated town in Oklahoma that we'll be visiting today. So hopefully we can find some ghost towns, maybe some cemeteries. Most of the county's population lives right near this road that goes from the northeast down to the southwest. So I don't think there's many people living in where we're going to be exploring, but hopefully we can find a few things of interest. As we're just getting started on the western, third of Texas County, there was a dot on the map called Unity, and I couldn't find anything about it. I couldn't find any kind of a post office or a town of any sort. And, often when that's the case, maybe it could be even like a business or a church or a school or something like that. And all you can do is go and see what there is. And as I've drove up, I see there's a building that says Unity on it, and it kind of looks like a school, but I don't know for sure. It doesn't look like an old school, but it is now turned into some agricultural storage or something like that, because there's some tractors and different things like that. So obviously somebody bought whatever this building was. I don't think they built this for that reason, unless this is some sort of a agricultural business called Unity. I'm guessing there maybe have been a school here back in the day. So glad I came and found out what Unity was, but I still don't quite know exactly what it was. So if anybody knows, if you're from Texas County and can tell me about Unity, put it in the comments. The more I sit here and look at this building, it looks more like a gymnasium like shape. I'm not sure it was a school now that I think about it, because there's no like windows. or anything like that. So yeah, I still don't know what it is. So yeah, I'm gonna need some help. Our next stop here in Muncy has some interesting history, and back there, I think that has to do with it. It's kind of off the road. There's not much left at all here, but I think it was originally called Tracy. Everything I read refers to Tracy, so maybe at some point it got changed to Muncy. But this was a failed community and just had bad luck. So in 1931, they were trying to start a community here to be on the railroad, and the railroad was built through here, and right after that, you know what happened was the Dust Bowl. And you know, as they were trying to build this railroad up, it just became a, you know, bad timing for the railroad to be built through here. And then at this, you know, not long after that, they invented diesel locomotives, and the trains didn't need to stop as often. They used to have to stop quite often through the, you know, different places, and so there wasn't need to have another place to stop. And so now it's interesting because you can see where the railroad used to go, and then it goes right out there to the little building. There, obviously, there's maybe some cattle, agricultural pens out there, something like that. It's hard. I'm not going to walk up there because the grass is high. I'm wearing shorts today. You never know what's going to be hiding in there for me. But yeah, kind of interesting to see what, you know, an area where it used to have a plan for something much bigger than it eventually became. Kind of like earlier with Unity, Four Corners is on the map, but I'm not quite sure, you know, why it was named Four Corners or exactly what was here, except for there's certainly some sort of a convenience store, gas station, service station right here where I'm at. It's even says, you know, Four Corners on the side of the building, so it's probably not too old. There's also looks like a school across the road. So certainly a community of some sort. I did some searching, could not find anything about how old it was, so I need some Texas County, Oklahoma experts to fill me in on some of these places. If you remember, when we were back in Muncy a couple towns ago, they built that railroad in 1931. Didn't last very long there, but it built it through this way to Ava, and this did last a little bit longer. And there are still some buildings here to check out. Ava had a post office from 1906 to 1975, and the railroad was the Beaver, Mead, and Inglewood Railroad. So none of those are big towns or cities, but that railroad was abandoned in the 1970s and the tracks pulled up. But you can see where the railroad would have went through right here, and it would have kept heading west to Cimarron County, kind of out to like Keys and Boise City in that way. But yeah, a couple of really cool old structures, especially the elevator is just, you know, it's like the skyscrapers of the plains. This falling down old house might be the coolest thing I've found today. So this is the home of Caroline Henderson. And you might not know that name. I really didn't either until I started, reading about her. But she grew up in Wisconsin, moved to Iowa, and then eventually came here, married a guy named Bill Henderson, and they started working, the Oklahoma Panhandle as working the farm. And then during the Dust Bowl, she started writing letters and columns that appeared in nationwide magazines and newspapers, and it detailed the life of living out here in the Panhandle and dealing with the Dust Bowl. If you ever saw the Ken Burns documentary, The Dust Bowl, her letters were in that documentary, and they were referred to several times. And this is the house that she lived here in the Oklahoma Panhandle. We're just a couple miles to the east of Ava, down some dirt roads, and now it's kind of maybe a shade break for the cows out here. And but it's really cool to see that house. It's still standing, and remarkable woman who was able to detail what life was like here almost 100 years ago, and some of the toughest times that anyone could imagine. I've come upon Yarborough, and it's not even on my map. It's so small. There's a school here called Yarborough School. I think it's like K through 12, and it's this is as small town, like a football field, as you can get. There is a community of houses, so I guess maybe this is the community of Yarborough, but it's not even on any maps that I've seen, so pretty interesting. So apparently there was a railroad siding here called the Libby Railroad Siding. Obviously you can see where it was. We haven't come across very many cemeteries today, and although there may be some out here and I've missed them, I know that there are cemeteries more, in some of the other parts of the county. But finally found one, the Cosmos Cemetery. It's down I guess you call it a back road. I'm not sure it's even a road. And when you get here, it's obviously just, very overgrown. A couple of headstones out there. I'm not gonna go trouncing through it today. I know that there's websites where they show you, what the memorials say. But yeah, maybe we can see if we can find another one. Our two cemeteries we just found aren't very big. We're here at the Kuhn Cemetery, and I can only see one headstone from the road, and once again I'm not going to trounce through the high grass to see what else is there. I'm guessing there were more headstones here. You can kind of see the outline of the cemetery, but yeah. So it's kind of an interesting couple cemeteries, and you just wonder why they're so small or why there aren't that many out here. Maybe they've moved them somewhere else to, a little more populated area. But yeah, so we're not going to finish here, be an anticlimactic finish. So let's actually finish up at a town that isn't in Oklahoma, but it's probably significant to this area. We're wrapping up our day in Elkhart, Kansas. And you might wonder, why are we stopping in Kansas? We're trying to tour Oklahoma. And I'll drive down the downtown area here of Elkhart and show you that while we're talking and finishing up. But, this is basically on the border of Texas County on the north side, and population a little less than 2,000 people. And, if you're living up in the northwestern part of the Texas County, this is going to be where you go get some groceries or, what you need on a daily basis, because, the other towns in the county are a little bit farther away. I really found today to be quite interesting. I knew there weren't going to be a lot of incorporated towns, so it made for kind of a mystery of what was going to happen, but we found some cool things. I loved finding the old, Caroline Henderson house, but even some of the ghost towns and some of the stories about what happened in the Dust Bowl was really interesting. So hope you enjoyed it, and we're going to continue on next time a little bit more to the east, kind of in the central part of Texas County. Hey, you made it all the way to the end of the video. And now that you're here, let me tell you a little bit more about all the other things going on this channel. If you want to become a member, you can become a member on either Patreon or YouTube memberships. There's 3 different levels, and as you are on a different level, there's more and more things, behind the scenes videos, different things that you're going to be able to gain access to. Make sure you check out my website, travelwithawiseguy.com. There's a whole bunch of new stuff on there. There's a merchandise link with some new cool merchandise. There's a newsletter that you can sign up for. About every 3 weeks I send out a new newsletter that's free. I have Google Maps, which has documented every place that I've made a video about, and you can click on there and you can go to the map and you can find the videos that I made, and it's all in one very convenient place. There's lots and lots of other stuff on there, so make sure to check out the website and explore all around what I've got going on. But once again, thank you so much for watching this video.